It is Sunday, May 7th, and that means tomorrow, Monday, May 8th, is when the Japanese government will officially recognize the SARS-CoV-2 virus as being level 2, which is the same level as seasonal influenza. It's previously been level 5. So they could have done this a long time ago because the dangers of the virus have already waned significantly. But, they're finally going to officially do it tomorrow. So I'm very curious to see how it impacts people who wear masks. The Golden Week period is ending today. This is Sunday. Monday is when people usually work and go to school. But I'm off on Mondays, so May 8th is not a work day for me. So they just timed it so that it'd be after Golden Week. In any case, yesterday I went to a branch that I'd never taught at before, and I always get pretty paranoid about finding new branches because, Yokohama and I guess generally the entire greater Tokyo metropolitan area, the Kanto region, is not really planned. The streets are laid out in very haphazard ways. There's no sense of a grid form. There are no street names really. I don't know why. I guess most of the expansion happened before cars. So without cars, there's no real reason to have a nice grid formation. But something could have been done in the last 70 years to improve things. But in any case, I usually go on Google Maps and I just zip down to Street View and I kind of walk, virtually on the street and look for different landmarks so that I can find my way. But because, the school was in a building that was away from regular street traffic, Google Maps stopped at a certain point and I couldn't get around and see other aspects of it. Having been there now, I understand why. What looks like streets on the map are actually kind of footpaths or entrances into buildings, parking areas, and things like that. So I was pretty stressed out. Friday night, I think I went to bed around 2, supposed to get up at 7, but I had trouble falling asleep and I woke up a lot, during the night. And I finally just kind of gave up trying to sleep around 6:30, stayed in bed till 7, got up and made my way to the school really early, but I found it. But as a result, I was knackered, which is a British word. Don't usually use it in North America. And it just means tired. Now, years ago, one of my friends had just come back from living in London for a year. She'd done homestay and studied English in London to build up her English, and she came back really, really fluent with this cool kind of pseudo-British accent from all of her exposure to the English of people in London. And while she was there, she took capoeira, which is a kind of Brazilian dance/fight, system. So it's dancing, but it's kind of combat. It's hard to explain unless if you've seen it, you'll know what it is. But I was asking her about that, and she said, after every practice, they were all just lying there sweaty, and they couldn't move, and they were just naked and sweaty. And I said, naked and sweaty? What do you mean? And she said, well, you're always naked, at the end of capoeira. It just, comes with capoeira. And I said, naked? What do you mean? And she said, tired. And I said, knackered. And I thought that was really funny because I thought, well, if what you said is true, I'm going to try capoeira, because if you all wind up naked and sweaty after capoeira. But then it'd depend who else was taking the lesson. But if you're just knackered, I'm not interested in it. But in any case, to get ready, since I couldn't make any progress understanding how to get to the school, I used Google Maps and I tried to draw out a map. This is the map I drew. And then I thought, I kind of understand this map, but this isn't right. It just looks really messy and unclear. So I actually taped a piece of paper to my monitor and traced the main street routes, and I wrote in some of the landmarks I have to look for. Bank of Japan, there's a Family Mart first, Bank of Japan. Then there's a Matsuya, and the second floor is a Tetsujin, and then next to that there's a Lawson and a MUFJ Bank, and that's the building that the school is in. And then there's a gym called Beyond Gym. And when I got to the station, I understood some of the hints that I found online. If you come from the basement, go to this, look for this landmark. If you come from the second floor, look for this landmark. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to me. But when you get to the station itself seems to be around street level, but you can exit it going downstairs into the basement, or you can go upstairs to this upper level walkway and go from there. So from the walkway, I could see the Matsuya, and it was really, really close. And I could see the Family Mart, and it was really, really close. And I thought, okay, then it's just there and there. It's like probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe. So I just walked, and I found the Matsuya, turned right, and then there's a left, and it says, look for this shop. I saw the shop. There's the reference shop that was mentioned on the website, and then I just spotted this little sign, and that was indicating that you go here to the elevator to get into the school. So that brings me to this. A long time ago, I learned this concept that there are 4 major learning styles: visual, auditory, tactile, and kinesthetic. Visual means you learn the best when you can see something, maybe reading, looking at a diagram, having a physical map that you can look at, and that's how you can take in and retain information. And then auditory means you hear it and you retain it. So you hear it, you listen to a lecture, maybe you hear a piece of music and you remember the lyrics immediately. You don't have to look at the lyrics and see a visual copy. You can just get them with your ears. Tactile means you can learn things by touch. So I guess that would be more applicable for things that involve finger use. For example, playing the piano or maybe sketching, something like that. And then kinesthetic is through movement of your body. So you'd be able to understand techniques for various sports. When you do them, you'll just remember, your body will remember how to do them. Maybe you can pick up new dances really easily, and you can retain information that way. Now, of course, the school system is generally designed around visual and around auditory. So you listen to the teacher, you read your textbook, you look at diagrams, and it might be, I think it's leaning far more to the visual side in Japan because of how the writing system works. But that doesn't really help people who are better suited to tactile or kinesthetic learning techniques. But why did I make this map? Did I make this map because I wanted to see it? Did I the same thing for this one? Did I make these maps because I wanted to see them, and that's how I would be able to navigate on the street? Or having made the map and seen it visually, was that enough to put it into my mind and let me retain what I needed to know to go where I wanted to go? Or was the action of drawing the map, creating the map with my hand and also by moving my arm, was that what helped me remember how to get where I wanted to go? And when I made the map, I was talking to myself. I said, well, there's a Matsuya here, and you gotta cross this street, and it looks like there's a Family Mart there. Then you have to go left, and then around this corner, that's where Google Map shuts off. the street view. So that means this might be something that cars can't access. So I have to look for this beyond gym. If I see beyond gym, I've gone too far. I've got a, the MUFJ bank is something I should look for and turn right before I get to that. So I was saying things aloud. I was looking at the screen and looking at the paper that I was making. I was physically creating the paper. So, touching the pen, touching the paper, moving my arm. So I think it was a combination of all of these. And in the end, I didn't really need to worry about using the map to get where I wanted to go, because it was pretty easy. The landmarks were few and crucial, and navigation was easy with them. So I think most people are some combination of those. Most people probably don't think about tactile or kinesthetic as helping them with their memory, but your brain has lots of different ways of storing information and lots of different triggers that you can activate to access different parts of your memory. And some things are just this mechanical memory. You come home, you kick off your shoes, you put your key wherever you put your key, and you lock your door and you come in. And then a few minutes later you ask yourself, did I lock the door? I don't remember. You check it, yes, you locked it. So that means you are remembering to do things, but not remembering having done them. So there's another type of, routine memory that comes into play there. One of my students said she couldn't find her key, but when she looked all over the house, it was right where she normally puts it. And I said, next time you can't find your key, step out the front door, wait a few seconds, and then come in like you just came home. And what do? What does your body do? So she said the same thing happened to her. After we had that talk, she said the same thing happened to her. She couldn't find something. So she just kind of exited and re-entered that area, and automatically her hands or her eyes went to a certain spot, and that's where the thing she was looking for was located. So she was doing things unconsciously, and that's activating other types of memory. So I think making the map myself is something important. So creating the visual reminder really helps me retain information. Be it notes or pictures or maps or things like this. I don't necessarily have to look at it to refresh my memory, but the creation of it and the decision to create it and the choices I make when I create it are what kind of implanted into my mind. Now, there is a lot to be said for saying things out loud. Dan Dennett, this philosopher, he might have passed away by now. I haven't checked. But he said, every time you say something aloud, you make another copy in your brain. Every time you say something aloud, you make another copy in your brain. Every time you say something aloud, you make another copy in your brain. And that's just how your brain works. That action of deciding to say something, and then the action of saying it, and then hearing what you've said and confirming that what you said was what you intended to say, that creates a memory. Some synapses pop off and it creates a memory. So I've often recommended studying by pacing around in a circle in your room, reading aloud, squeezing a tennis ball. So your eyes take in the information, it gets processed, then it goes through some language center to your mouth, where your mouth creates it, which lets your ears hear it. So you have this output with two types of input of the information. You're walking in a circle while you're doing this, squeezing a tennis ball, so your kinesthetic and tactile memories are active, if that's something that might help you retain the information. So if there's something you're studying, something you want to remember, add a kinesthetic or a tactile element to your study. Definitely make portions of it aloud, yourself, not listening to something, but the creation of it. You're moving your mouth, your brain is processing it and then sending it through different centers so your mouth can produce it. If you're listening to a source, repeat what it says. So then the input through the ears becomes output through the mouth. That's another way to force your brain to shuffle things around so that it gets to the language centers and gets produced out of your mouth. But walk around in a circle squeezing a tennis ball while you read aloud, and if there are other people in the room, you're probably going to annoy them, so try to do it when there's no one else around. So I've got these maps here. I won't throw them away, but I'll probably never look at them again. Yes. Well, I'll finish this video for now. Thanks for watching. And the next video, I might show something I purchased and it arrived today.